I've never been a big Souls fan. When I first got my PS4 all the way back in 2015, I picked up Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne, and I did not get them at all. I got through the Last Giant in DS2, and I didn't even get through a boss in Bloodborne before putting them down and then also selling them to GameStop, which was the last time I ever sold anything to GameStop, and I still regret it to this day. I didn't even try to play Dark Souls 3, and Sekiro was a very similar story to Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne when I tried to play it in 2019. But as Elden Ring got closer and closer to launch, I didn't want to miss out on what was seemingly going to be a major event for the larger gaming community. So I went out on a limb and bought it right when it was released to dip my toes in the Souls pool one last time. And a month later I had all the Steam achievements. And by the end of the summer, I had beaten all the Souls games. Except Bloodborne because it's landlocked to the PS4 in an uneven 30 FPS with maybe the most disgusting hair graphics I've ever seen. I'll get to you one day, Bloodborne, my sweet prince, I'm so sorry. I never thought it would happen, but I too became a Souls diehard, and Elden Ring was the push I needed to finally experience these masterpieces, and these other ones too. And this one, which I both love and hate. So with the context that I became a Souls junkie after Elden Ring, you have to understand something. I had no idea what I was doing on that first run through. Like, it was bad. First off, I fell into the trapping that my armor had to be as good as possible, so I wore full Lionel gear whenever I could. My build was basically centered around putting so much points into endurance that I could have the full Lionel gear in medium load. Secondly, I didn't even find Ranni, and I didn't get the bell bearing until like 50 hours into the game. And I only got the bell bearing because that was the first time I actually explored the round table. 50 hours in. I had 3 talisman slots basically the entire game. So needless to say, my experience with the other Souls games came with a lot more knowledge and general direction on what I should be aiming for. I knew for a fact that I needed to replay Elden Ring before the DLC dropped because I knew that my build was just not going to cut it. And sure, I could have just respec'd at Renala, but I wanted an excuse to play one of my favorite games of all time again. So here is the story of how I gained a new appreciation for Elden Ring 2 years and 5 Souls games later. I went into this run knowing what I wanted to do. I was going to run the classic Dark Moon Greatsword. Typically when I play Souls games, I am a full strength Greatsword enjoyer. Something Giga Chad, I don't know, whatever they say. I also knew that going into the DLC, I wanted that same experience that I have with all of my new runs since it was all new stuff, but I decided to spice it up just a little bit. The Dark Moon Greatsword scales mainly off of intelligence and had a projectile, so it was going to be a very different experience for me just because I had different tools at my disposal. But the real kicker here was since I wanted to get it as soon as possible, I actually started out as the Prisoner class because it had a high int value and had real spells for once. This was the first thing I had to get used to because I have never used magic in any Souls game before. I also started with a weapon that scaled with dex and had a much different moveset than I was used to before. So in order to get my bearings with this new loadout, I decided to go to the Tree Sentinel and kill. Nah. I can't. I suck. And fight him once or twice, so I had a little bit of experience, but ultimately I ran straight for Margit after only leveling up twice. My damage to Margit with my sword wasn't great, and I would run out of magic fairly early, so I realized that I was going to have to manage my resources a lot better with this kind of build. Even though I was very familiar with Margit, he still helped me get over the hump of using a new moveset and toolkit, and after leveling my staff a little, I was able to get over him without too much trouble. That's it, that's over. Oh my god, it was so much easier. Dude, magic is broken. Magic is broken. I'm level 0, bro. I have not leveled up, basically. After exploring the round table a little, I headed right into Stormvale where I quickly made my way over to Godrick. I only used the runes Margit dropped to level, so I was going into Godrick decently underpowered. I found the summon for the fight, but when I started it, I realized something very quickly. I don't have enough good damage to do this. See, I had been upgrading my staff and leveling mostly int at this time, but I was early enough into the game that I didn't have many flasks, even though I chose the seed as my starting item. So walking into Godrick, I realized that I ran out of FP before I could kill him, which was a big problem since my sword didn't do that much damage either. Now I understand I could have just run around and grabbed all the seeds, but I figured it would be fun to figure out this problem with what I had. So I maxed out my cerulean flasks and had the summon take most of the aggro the whole fight, relying on her to make up for my damage deficit. On the try that I beat him, I didn't take any damage, so it turns out I didn't need those crimson flasks anyways. Actually, Let's go! Let's go! World's first 0 damage Godrick. Like, not like 0 hits taken, like I do no damage. Like, with the first Remembrance under my belt, I was already feeling the difference. See, this time playing through, since my game knowledge and skill were much higher, even when I was at a disadvantage and out of my comfort zone, I was able to find out-of-the-box solutions to these problem areas I was running into. It ended up playing more like a puzzle game where I had to piece together the strategy with my limited resources. And I was having a blast! So of course I ran straight for that Glintstone key and made my way directly for Raya Lucaria. Riding off the high of Godrick, I thought I was going to start cruising through the early game. That is until I hit the Red Wolf of Radahn and realized some limitations to the way I had been playing. The first obstacle was of course, the sidestep. I could not hit him with magic very consistently at all, and my tiny little sword was doing very little damage to him. And after a lot of attempts and my friends in chat playfully making fun of me, I needed to put my pride on the line. I ran back to the Tree Sentinel and whooped his ass to make me feel good. I got some sorceries while I was at it and ended stream for the day. The next day I realized I needed to upgrade my sword, so I ran around to collect bell bearings before rematching the dog. My damage was much better along with my much improved game plan, and he went down without too much trouble. Die. Okay, nice. Renala herself was next, and after treating this knight to a nice trip, I challenged her. Here's where I found out a new thing: the importance of armor. Now, Elden Ring has been dubbed Fashion Souls by many, but when you go into fights under-leveled, it's not fun to be one-shot every time you make a mistake. See, even though I did have high magic damage, I did not have high magic resistance, but Renala certainly did. I was doing very little damage and taking a lot of it. So instead of banging my head into the wall and having to do God's most annoying first phase over and over again, it was time for another detour. I got the Astrologer's set, climbed up the side of the cliff to fight the Magma Worm, and made a trip to the Altus Plateau for more bell bearings. After exploring and getting some more levels from some easier bosses, I came back to Radahn the next day. Wait, Radahn? Yeah, I was around Caelid and I realized that I could go do Radahn since I had already been to Altus, and then I could go to the Darkmoon Greatsword earlier, so I ran in and gave it like 3 terrible attempts before promptly warping back to the academy. Yeah, I hate Radahn, bro. Oh my god, that guy. Even with the much better weapon, it still took me a while to take Renala down. Probably because I didn't get to Renala until way later in my first run, so I had basically no experience with her moveset. And those summons are annoying, god damn! I killed her with magic, dude, out of all things. Hey! She's dead! She casted you while she was dying, what? With Renala dead, it was actually time for Radahn for real this time. I don't have much to say about the Radahn fight other than he's a rat bastard who has no friends and he's an animal abuser, but he's dead, so it's fine by me. No! Go, 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 go! Let's go! You. Oh my god, I hate Radahn, dude. Oh my god, I hate Radahn so much. Oh. I made my way over to EG in Carrion Manor, but stopped right outside the gates for the day. My next stream was devoted solely to doing Ranni's questline, which wasn't that interesting, but I would like to take some time to talk about the quality of life changes they added to this game while there is a lull in the action. The best one in my opinion is putting a map marker where important NPCs that you have met are so you don't lose them. This is very, very helpful in keeping track of side quests. The others were the new UI elements that showed you when you could use a golden seed or a tear, or when you could talk to an NPC at a grace. These are great additions that keep new players from missing things, and I wanted to point them out because for whatever reason, this indicator doesn't show up when you have to talk to Doll Ranni for her questline. For changes meant to pull attention to special things so you don't miss them, you would think the one very specific time in the game you would do this would be included, but I guess not. Anyway, Estelle was another boss I had very little actual practice on, so he was whooping my ass until I upgraded my weapon again, and realized he has a lot of vulnerabilities if you play very, very close to him. Well, he did TP on top of me, but not like in the bad way. Come on, come on, come on. Greedy, greedy. Whew. Oh my god, I got really lucky that one. Once he was dealt with, I could finally get the Dark Moon Greatsword, and could wield it right away since I had been leveling intelligence mostly for the entire time. Rykard was next on the chopping block, so I made my way over to Volcano Manor. The Godskin Noble fight was annoying, but I got through it okay. But it was Rykard himself that was really testing my patience this time. Since I just got my sword, I basically had not been maxing vigor, and Rykard was doing insane damage to me, and there was one move I actually could not figure out how to avoid. I was not doing well with this fight, especially once he started casting skulls. Unironically, I have no idea how I was able to beat him with my old build. Eventually, I had a super good run and staggered him right when he would have casted skulls, and I was able to prevent him from doing so until the very end, where he basically got himself killed. Do skulls actually. For real this time. Let's go, dude. He actually just signed his own death wish. Oh my god, that second phase was so good because I stopped him. I did it so well that he could not do the skull cast early. So then he just got confused and didn't do it. Oh my god, I got so lucky. Or not lucky, I guess it was skill. This method of canceling a boss's BS with staggering ended up being my go-to method for the rest of the run on some of those harder fights. After finally slaying the 4 early-ish game remembrances, it was time to go to the capital. Well, it was time to kill the Draconic Tree Sentinel and then go to bed. But the next day, I finally went to the capital. Lane was easy to get through, but for whatever reason, Godfrey took me like 7 tries. I beat this guy on my first attempt last time. I was actually shocked I was getting rolled this hard. Next was Morgott, who I was initially afraid of because I could not remember his fight for the life of me, but he wasn't so bad and went down faster than Godfrey did. Another remembrance under my belt. Alright, I got him. Alright, we're good. So being at what I would say is the halfway point, here's what I noticed about my time so far. I definitely had some rust with my soul skills and was dying to stupid things a lot. But since I had the knowledge, I was able to recognize my mistakes and I was way less likely to keep doing them. I didn't first try many bosses, but there were plenty that didn't take me nearly as long as they did the first time. Also, having a projectile was really fun, as trying to figure out if it's more worth it to use that or the big sword directly added some more layers to the fights that I didn't have the first time I played this. I ended up making my way through the mountaintops of the giants very quickly and got to the fire giant, who I forgot has an awful fight. Like, I knew people don't like it, but it really is no fun to have a gigantic boss run away and cast spells that are hard to avoid and hit the boss at the same time with. Luckily, he's the only one that does that. Right? Oh my god. This asshole. Jesus. Okay, I take it back. That's like, that fight's awful. That thing's still trying to kill me. Yeah, no, that one's pretty bad. Now, the entire time I was planning this run, there was one thing that I knew I had to do. This was crucial to the success and sanity of my run. I had to unlock the grace that was right next to the Godskin Duo, so I never, ever had to do that terrible walk back to that terrible boss. Once I did that, there was a summon who I didn't even know existed. So as stressed out as I was for this fight, I was actually able to get through it quite efficiently. I developed a strategy where I got the summon to aggro the noble, while I fought the apostle, who was way easier in my opinion, and killed them both very quickly. When one respawns when neither are alive, the apostle always respawns first, so I was able to one-cycle him before he called the noble, and another apostle spawned, making the fight way more manageable. Godskin Duo down, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. Oh my god. Now, if there is one single boss that gave me the most trouble that didn't start with M and rhyme with Balania on my first run through, it was Maliketh. His super mobility and high damage just knocked my roll-away spamming ass to the ground for hours, so I was very afraid to fight him this time. This caused me to go on a detour to level up before really attempting his fight. I first went to Mohgwyn Palace to see how bad Mohg was. It wasn't too bad and I gave it some good tries, but decided I'd go practice on Sewer Mohg first. Fun fact, my least favorite area in the entire video game is the Subterranean Shunning Grounds, and that proved to still be the case this time around. Oh my god, this place is awful. For real, I almost lost my mind on stream having to navigate this place. I actually never want to come back here again. Anyway, I got through fake Mohg, gave real Mohg another try, and decided to face my demons and go right for the Dog of Death. I only kinda struggled with this fight, but not in the way I thought I would. It wasn't Maliketh giving me trouble, it was the Beast Clergyman phase. I was getting smoked by his really fast blows and powerful and quick ranged attacks. And when I finally got to Maliketh, I thought I would be there all day, but I actually beat him on the second time I got to him. I realized he actually had a pretty easy to follow combo tree once you got the hang of it, and his low health really helped keep the fight much more manageable. Maliketh was the most improved boss for me, I think, in terms of how much I liked it. Come on, let's go! Let's go! You. And since the third time is the charm, I went back to Moog yet again and was able to finally take him down with a really good run, and I was set up very nicely for the end game. Let's go! Let's go! Oh my god, so ballsy. Technically, I could have stopped here as I had met all the conditions for the DLC, but I wanted to finish the game and have as many levels as I reasonably could have. Before hopping straight into Godfrey. Wait, I probably shouldn't say it like that. Before hopping straight into the Godfrey fight, I went to go do Fortisac since I wanted to do all the remembrances. I have no idea what happened here, but my damage to him was actually insane. Like, I basically, 6-tapped him. The Giant Dragon, who I fought as early as possible, went down in 6 hits. Someone who's more knowledgeable about this, please explain. I genuinely have no idea what happens. Does he just have no defense? Did he just die? Whoa, I missed! What? Hit him! There we go. Oh my god. After that, though, it was time to take on my favorite boss in the game, Godfrey. This fight is the Dark Souls dance at its best. He is aggressive, but his attacks aren't fast enough to where you can't get damage in. There is such a satisfying rhythm to it, and the phase change mixes it up without completely changing everything. It took me a good couple tries and 2 magic pixel attempts in a row, but I made it through nonetheless. One. Oh, dude, I didn't even know what he was doing. And going from my absolute favorite boss in the game to one of my least favorite ones, Placidusax. He's a giant dragon with lightning and fire attacks that teleports and does 70% of my health bar. What's not to love? Don't forget the laser beam that one-shots you. Yippee, yippee. Honestly, my first couple attempts were very poor, but I randomly just locked in so hard and beat him way earlier than I expected. Very glad I was able to get through this easily because I think I would have burnt myself out otherwise. Come on, give me the eyeball. Hold on, greet it. Where's my damage? Yes! 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 Oh my god, I actually did it. Oh my god. I locked the f*** in. I locked in. I'm locked. Oh my god. Oh. I'm glad that's over with. Oh my god, I loathe that boss fight. Loathe it. And then there were 2. I wanted to do Radahn and the Elden Beast last, so it was time to do Malenia. I famously was only able to beat her with the pre-patch Mimic tier last time, and I wanted to prove that I could do it without it this time. So how did the most famously hard Souls fight go in a good, clean one-on-one where my knowledge, wits, and skills would all culminate in the epic penultimate conclusion to my Elden Ring adventure? Well, I kinda gave her the smoke, I'm not gonna lie. Using my current build, I gave her 10 good tries and realized I needed to change my strategy, so I did an hour of side quests, mainly Millicent's, to get some talismans, and then second tried her with a crazy good build. As much as I want to say it was anticlimactic, which it kinda was, I was actually very proud of myself. I made one of gaming's hardest challenges look like a cakewalk, all because I had the knowledge and execution checks to pull it off. It was kinda euphoric. I can rot a little bit if I need to. Rot maxing. Big. Big Miss Malenia. Oh! And I get the... Oh, dude, it was so easy! Oh my god, she's so easy, dude! Oh my god! So easy. So worth it. Holy shit, dude. I actually gave her the business. God damn. and after that, it was on to the actual final challenge. I'm a pretty big fan of Radahn, and it didn't take me too long to get back into the groove of his fight. The one thing that I wasn't great at was the timing of his hammer ground slam in phase 2 because I never jumped it on my first run. The Elden Beast is as annoying as ever, although I feel like Elden Stars was nerfed or something because it was not nearly as oppressive as I remember. This fight ended up taking longer than Millennia, but I was successful and I called upon Ronnie to usher in the Age of Stars. Dude, can we not, like, just jump a million miles away? There he goes! There he goes! And that was Elden Ring 2 years later. So what did I think about it this time around? Well, I loved Elden Ring so much when I played it first, but as I played other Souls games, I ended up enjoying both Sekiro and Dark Souls 3 more, finding them to be much more consistent experiences with all that same art and flair as Elden Ring. I had kind of started to think that Elden Ring was not as good as I initially thought it was. This playthrough didn't make me like it more than those other two, but I gained a new appreciation for it I couldn't see on my first playthrough. See, so many RPGs I have played have punished me for playing them the wrong way. Many of them scale enemies based on levels you get from both main and side quests, so when you don't decide to do side content, probably because it's pretty boring and uninteresting, you basically can't keep going because you're gated by differences in numbers. Many open world games don't actually have open worlds that are worth exploring and don't actually let you play how you want to. Elden Ring actually lets you and actively encourages you to play the way you see fit. Whether it's a shitty first time build, a level 1 run, a Godfrey cosplay, you name it, you will always be able to get to the end credits, and that is an insane task to pull off on a game that is this notoriously difficult. Seriously, this is a miracle of a game, and I cannot be happier for the experience it gave me and the experiences I decided to try because of it. So to conclude, I want to give a big bravo to the dev team and their accomplishments, and let them know that I cannot wait for the DLC, which you can watch me play right now, probably. This video is going live on the day Shadow of the Erdtree drops, and I am going to be streaming it live on my Twitch, linked down below. You should stop by. Also, maybe subscribe while you're at it. That'd be really cool and awesome. And if you guys ended up liking this video, maybe I'll make more like this in the future. Okay, that's all I've got for now. Thank you guys so much for indulging me on this new kind of video. I will see you guys on the next one.